right. Hello, everyone. How we doing? Woo! Bring it up. Let's go. All right. Let's get the energy back. After lunch, I know you just had maybe some burgers and stuff. It's sitting in the tummy, but hopefully let's bring the focus back and have a really good discussion around influencing the crypto space, right? Working with KOLs, being a KOL, really just finding ways to, grow your project, but also in the right way and in a sustainable way with the right people on board to help your project, right? So, I'll let my panelists introduce themselves. Firstly, for me, I'm Ashton, Cashton.eth, Cashton_eth on Twitter. I'm not up there, but I'm with On-Chain Foundation, so we're a nonprofit focused on Web3 education, bringing really entrepreneurs in the space, but also not in the space to understand the real-world impact of these technologies. Onchain.org, feel free to check us out. That's my quick shill. From that, I'll let Simon go ahead and introduce himself.
Sure, let me show you next. My name is Simon. I'm the co-founder of Solana ID. We're building the flagship identity protocol for the Solana blockchain, helping you to get more perks on-chain and make money with your data, which is pretty cool. We work frequently with KOLs because we're obviously also setting up our own token, Solid, which is going to launch later this year. And that involves a lot of KOL marketing as well. So I just have some experience from the founders side of things. And by the way, guys, we hit all-time high on Bitcoin. I feel like people don't really get this here at the conference. Everyone's just chilling, sitting in their chairs. It's like an all-time high. Like, it's crazy. Woo! Anyway, so give it up for Bitcoin.
Yeah, all right.
Just want to bring some energy here, but
Cool.
Happy
Thanks.
to be here.
Appreciate it. Daria, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, 100%. So hi, everyone. My name is Daria. I work for Defactor. And basically, we're building tokenization solutions as an infra and toolkits for tokenization projects. We work closely with KOLs, but I'm also a KOL myself for Token 2049, mostly on my LinkedIn. So feel free to shoot me a connection request. And let's talk further.
Awesome. Thanks. Go ahead, Sara.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me here. So I'm Portuguese. So it's good to be home, and it's always a pleasure to talk about all blockchain things and just go on stage in my own country. I've been around in the crypto space for 6 years now. I'm representing ICN at the moment. More than happy to share more information about what we are doing. And we have exciting things around the corner, especially with our node sale. So that's one of the reasons that we are collaborating with KOLs. I'm very passionate about Web3. To be honest, I cannot see myself working in a standard and boring company. I think you can relate, right? We don't want that. More than happy to be here and share my knowledge with you. And let's all learn together.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Go ahead, Sander.
Hi guys, I'm Sander Gortjes. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Hello Labs. Most people know us from the television show Killer Whales, which we'll be talking a little bit more about later on. My experience is basically that I started out in crypto in 2017, developing a lot of software, and that led us to having the television show, and that led us to getting in contact with the TRS KOLs and working with them on making sure that the projects that we bring onto the show get the right coverage, not only from a television perspective, but also the way the KOLs interact with this and how we amplify these solutions.
Awesome. Thanks. Let's give it up again for the panelists. All right, there we go. Appreciate it. So who here has worked with KOLs in the past? Go ahead, raise your hands. Okay, quite a few. Who here is a KOL?
Maybe you can ask that if they like the experience of working with KOLs.
Yeah, I was going to. Who is a KOL? All right, okay, interesting, cool. Who has had a good experience working with KOLs? All right, that's good. Who's had a bad experience working with KOLs? All right, definitely a bigger majority. Okay, well, definitely it's been a hot topic. Obviously, it's looking pretty hot talking about it today. But what's the state of working with KOLs at the moment? How has that kind of changed over time? And are high-quality crypto users still believing and trusting KOLs, or has it shifted in a different way, these days? Go ahead. Anyone can start.
Yeah, I think since I've been around a while in crypto as well, obviously it was much better when there was less traffic everywhere. There were fewer KOLs, but higher quality ones as well. But once there's a lot of money to be made, I think it also brings in a lot of bad actors. So today I think we just have an oversaturation, in my opinion, of KOLs. And it's really hard to pick the good ones out of the bad ones. As a founder, it's really challenging because the question you need to ask yourself is like, what data points am I actually trusting in when working with KOLs? And like nowadays, we have a lot of data that you can analyze of their social media accounts, of their past projects they worked with. You can interview people that they worked with in the past. And I think if you don't do all that homework, you will most likely end up with a bad experience. But there's a lot of shades to what you can do to make sure that you work in the best efficient way with them. But I think we deep dive into that later. But yeah, I think it's challenging nowadays to find the good ones.
Yeah.
If I can add something, I think I don't know about you, but I think I lost like an opportunity of a career to become an influencer, right? I mean, the money that they gain it's massive, it's huge. It's almost like unrealistic to think about this. But to be fair, every time that we try to activate a KOL, one of the things that I highly prioritize and really value is that I jump on a call with them and try to understand like if he actually understands the space or is like just a scammer, you know? If he's like someone that have perfect numbers on X and you know, a good even like a good volume of engagement and all of that. Of course, we check the metrics, we make sure that our return over the investment is going to be good, all of that. But it's also a matter of understanding like if the guys know exactly what he's talking about, right? So once I have a KOL that is willing to explore our testnet, to also give us some advice, like advisory roles, all of that, that's the kind of KOLs that we want, right? At least it's my opinion.
I fully agree. I think when you look at the KOLs in 17, 2021, 2024, there is a huge difference. That's not only a big difference in the fact that in 2017, most of these KOLs were really tech-oriented. 2021, you had a couple of really big KOLs that had a big retail audience, and that was mostly the coverage that they're doing. If you look at the projects that are going to market right now and they really need a good KOL strategy, I agree with everything that's being said, but there is also the difference in types of KOLs that you need to understand, right? There are technically oriented KOLs that bring the alpha, that will tell you, okay, this is coming in the next 6 months. And when these 6 months come to fruition, you start working with a little bit more with retail KOLs, and towards a TGE, you start working with more trading-oriented KOLs. So this whole playing field has become really, really difficult to understand if you don't do some of the stuff that is already being said, but also just have a really good feeling about, okay, what do we need, at which moment in time, and at which phase, and how do we execute on that?
Yep, 100%. I would also like to add that I've seen a lot of KOLs that lost their integrity through years, agreeing to shill, the shittiest token ever for like 10K. And how can you agree to sell your audience, people who trust you and follow you, for the big amount of money? And then through time, this reputation stays with them. So we also do not want to put, for example, Defector in front of them, because then we'll be associating ourselves with this person who shields everything that people pay for, basically.
Maybe one disclaimer, because we need to understand as well, the market was just shit. Like, if you're, like, it's not easy to be in KOL, like to be on their side now for once. It's not easy to be in KOL because you actually need to make those decisions.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of project do I present to my audience? And chances that this project failed was very high because the market was just shit. So I have friends of mine that are KOLs and they have a huge audience and they were like 80, 90% positive people in their audience. But now they have like 50-50 because people lost a lot of money because they trusted in the decisions that this KOL made for them.
Right.
But I wouldn't blame the KOL in that case because the market was just bad and there's so many projects that went down, so people lost money.
Yeah.
And that's not easy now because now we need to regain the trust of the retail together with the good projects and the KOLs.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
But then it's a
that's the
different
goal.
story. If you genuinely believe in a project, or you're just open to shill whatever.
Sure, that's definitely, There are those and those.
Yeah.
I'd love to dive in a little bit deeper with Sara. And from a marketing perspective, right? When you're finding these KOLs, you mentioned it a little bit. Diving in more like the strategies to actually find them, to filter through the noise, but then also manage them in a good way together. Sort of coordinated approach.
You need to manage them, otherwise.
Yeah, of course. What are some good strategies to make sure that goes well for our brands?
I mean, usually what we do is that we prepare like a content calendar or a planning or strategy, we give them all the right materials, a proper briefing. We make sure that they actually understand the project, right? They know what they can say, what they cannot say, which is very important. But I think like just to be fair, like I've been working in marketing for quite some time, and I'm a teacher, and if I have to say, like I hate like influencer marketing, you know, this new era is like, not my thing. But I can agree that for Web3 is a necessary thing, especially if you are going to launch a token, a protocol, everything. You need to make sure that you activate this type of formats, right? You need to adapt. So for that reason, we always try to do like the best research, make sure that we have the best profiles with us. It's not a matter of quantity, it's about quality, trying to cover all different markets. So right now we are looking for like a lot of KOLs in Asia. Very difficult to work with Asian KOLs, not gonna lie, because most of them, they don't speak English even. Yeah. So we have this barrier that we are trying to overcome. But yeah, I think it's just making sure that they actually understand the project. I mean, if they understand, if it tests things, if they explore our dimensions of the protocol and the ecosystem that we're trying to build, that's totally fine. If they, as you mentioned, if they are just there to chill the project and just share a post, we don't want that. No. We don't see any type of value doing that.
Yeah, makes a ton of sense. And Daria, I know you work with KOLs sometimes on the de facto side.
Yep.
Have you seen a shift in the industry with the type of KOLs that you work with, and how are you guys sorting through the noise of KOLs out there?
Yeah, 100%. So at de facto, we're mostly focusing on tokenization, and even though it's quite understandable, right? We just put kind of a real-world asset on top of a blockchain. However, there is not a lot of user education. And what personally I see, please guys tell me what you see, is that majority of people who are just entering the industry, they're more open to listen to smaller KOLs, so to say, but not the ones with millions of followers. So
Absolutely.
all of the people that I know,
Absolutely.
they just want to hear the ones with 20K followers.
I was in Singapore for Token 2049 there, and there was like this panel on KOLs, and then, like the major KOLs, they were on stage. And if you literally try to have a conversation with them, they don't know anything about what's happening, you know? They don't know any emergent projects, you know, keeping up like with cool and trending things. They don't know. I mean, they just have the followers, and that's totally fine, right? You are always going to find this type of people. But I mean, when you talk like with a guy that owns like 100K followers on X, and he really knows what he's doing, he really believes in the power of Web3 and all these projects that are coming up, you understand that he's a person that is actually, you know, passionate about the space and really wants to make things happen. And for sure, we always try to prioritize this type of people as well.
Yeah. But what I've also seen, because I am friends with some of the KOLs, obviously, that we met in Token 2049 and so on, is that those smaller KOLs, they're much better for like user education in getting users to use actually the products that we're building. But for bigger KOLs with millions of followers, they are mostly there to attract users to centralized exchanges, for example. So I know OKX is partnered with a lot of them, Bybit, and so on. So like different types of projects and products for different sizes of KOLs.
Right. And also depends on the phase of your project, right? I mean, if you want to pump a token, for sure, go to big KOLs. If you want to build a community, maybe search for the community.
Yeah, makes sense. And is there any like tools that you guys use to either manage the KOLs or find them? Or is there any specific things that you're using on a day-to-day basis for that?
Yeah, I can maybe mention some stuff. We're trying to keep it easy, not too complicated. So we do our Twitter research just on Twitter natively first. We look at the total follower count compared to the engagement rates and the views of the actual posts. So if an account has like, I don't know, like 1 million followers, but his views on the post are only like 10K, might be a red flag. But then we also run it through some analysis tools. There's Kaito AI, which is very powerful to analyze your Web3 audiences. Also freaking expensive to use, but it might be worth it. You can check it out. And then once we have a KOL and we work with them, we build our own tracking system in a simple Notion database. So we just put each KOL in there. We send them details on a Notion page, like we can dive into that deeper as well, what kind of content we want them to talk about. And then each KOL has usually a ref link or some identifier where we can measure success as well. So we track one campaign with that KOL, and we look at, okay, how much money did we spend on that KOL, or what was the deal, and then what was the output as well. How much conversions did we generate, or how much likes did that post get, and so on and so on. So we're trying to be very data-driven, because if you don't do that, what happens is that you just
spend
waste
all your money.
a lot of money,
There
and
you
then
go.
you're sitting at the end of the month, you're like, okay, what actually happened?
Yeah.
Like, what did we spend that money on? So you need
Yeah.
to really track those campaigns.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a black box.
Definitely. Reporting, tracking, all super important.
One hundred
For sure.
percent. Sorry,
All good.
chime
All
in.
good. Go ahead.
So for us, it's pretty much the same process. I mean, I work for a German company, so I can guarantee you that I need to show results. Otherwise, we are not going to invest or pay KOLs. But overall, what I really try to get from the KOLs is like this monthly package, let's say like an ambassador package or something. So I really want to make sure that they are able to jump on X Spaces with us. So it's not just a matter of doing a post and then tracking the results and the metrics of the post for sure. We're going to do that, that study and that's the part of the job, but it's also making sure that they honor and then they understand, okay, I want to be an ICN ambassador. I want to be like in a early stage of the node release, of the protocol launch, all of that. So we always try to find like this package that fits to our project, like for instance with XSpace, in real life events, even if we need to pay for the expenses. I mean, I think it's important for the community to hear from them and to make sure that they understand the project, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's quite complex,
Super important.
blockchain.
Maybe to add to that, right? So we're explaining a little bit how should you go to work with these KOLs and how do you measure the success, right? So one of the things that we, for example, do on top of what you are saying is we organize, every 2 months, we organize an event with the KOLs to get them up to speed, to get their engagement back in, to get them to a location, present, what we're going to do in the next couple of months or what the project is going to do in the next couple of months, so that it's not only that initial engagement when you actually close the deal, you have this very intensive contact with a KOL, but you also make sure that they are alert and they stay alert with whatever you guys are doing.
Yeah.
So,
It's
Exactly.
important.
For instance,
Investing in them, right?
Yeah.
To come.
yeah. For instance, for our node sale that is taking place in December, by the way, we have 2 ways of collaborating with KOLs. We have content only, right? That's like educational, research, all of that, just trying to explain what is a node, what you can do with a node. But then we also have like a referral program, meaning that the KOL is highly invested in making sure that we are going to sell out our nodes because they are going to get rewards on top of that, right? So that's one thing that we highly try to just put it out there, just give the opportunity for the KOLs. There's still like a niche for node KOLs because node is like a brand new thing. But yeah, this is something that we offer and for us makes total sense, right? I mean, it's not a matter of us paying you to promote something. It's also like you promote because you believe and then you will get like based on your results. So that's...
But then with your referral program, it's quite easy to quantify which KOL brought you how many users, right? But for example, we do not have it and we cannot really implement it. So right now, we're just hoping that the groups of KOL will work, not in terms of volumes, but like in terms of really quality, not really quantity.
Yeah, exactly. First, it's going to be nice to see which ones are going to bring us money and users.
Yeah. And being able to track it all along the way, I think is super cool to be able to have that opportunity. I want to pass it back to Sander. I know with Hello Labs, you guys have made Killer Whales, which is a very popular show, bringing a lot of a new audience to the Web3 space. So how do you focus on quality content and working with the right people to bring those people in, right?
Yeah, actually that is a challenge because we're very Web3 native, so we understand what the Web3 space wants. We understand how mechanisms work. We understand how these KOL works. But when we presented these KOLs with the idea, let's build a television show, let's put it on Apple TV, let's put it on Amazon Prime. We have an estimated reach of 600 million people. Nearly every one of them was like, oh, wow, hold on, we are all working together in this crypto Twitter box and our YouTube boxes, and we have these 30 million active wallets going around all the time. I just saw a presentation of liquidity just flowing around within the ecosystem. This was the first time that a lot of these KOLs saw, hey, I've been creating this content for a very long time, and this is a way for me to present what we are doing in the Web3 space to a much larger audience than the people that are daily active. So we really put a focus on that. We made sure that the quality is of a superior level in terms of production value of basically anything that you could do at home or in a media studio, as most of the KOLs work. Of course, we have very professional tools to our disposal, so we can really take it up the next level. And then it's all about entertainment. So our show is a lot more about entertainment, because I always say my dad, watching a show in his recliner at home, putting on Apple TV and watching a show, he has a different type of entertainment need than what we might have in the Web3 space as a newbie or as a Will and a veteran. So yeah, really focus on type of quality, but also making sure everything's like super understandable. It's the beginning of the journey, not the end of the journey, quite often.
Right, that's super important. I think it's definitely opening up to that new audience. Putting it on Amazon Prime and those channels is super cool to see that happening, right? It's really opening up the space and yeah, making it more accessible, hopefully. And good entertainment sells, right? So that's good.
That's
good
what we
see.
need. That's
yeah.
what we need. We need to grow.
For sure. As a KOL yourself, Daria, how do you find the right projects to work with? And from that perspective, how do you prioritize the right types of content and the right partners? And why does that matter, obviously so much to you and to others in the space?
100%. So majority of crypto KOLs are on Twitter. However, I'm on LinkedIn, and I also work in the industry, so I do value my connections a lot. I never look for projects, mostly just reply to them when they request something. And then I also never shield the projects. So basically whatever kind of packages, so to say, I have, is to make my analysis on your project. And then like which way it goes, it's like up to me to see what I think.
Right.
But I would never use my LinkedIn for that, because majority of my followers are co-founders, CTOs, and biz dev people. So it's just a different audience that you would target.
Yeah.
And I cannot lose integrity neither as a KOL nor as a salesperson, because you guys are people I see all around the world every day on conferences. I chat with you, so I would never want to jeopardize that.
Makes sense. I think especially with the LinkedIn audience, right? People can see that things are pretty fake, right? And they want to have value added to the things they're looking
but it
at,
actually
right?
works. And there is a lot of good things on LinkedIn. It just depends what creators do you follow. I think it's the same way as TikTok, there are a lot of value. It's just what do you choose to like and what do you choose to engage with?
Yeah. No, it makes sense. Putting another emphasis back on like the types of content that you're providing the KOLs, right? I know, Simon, you work a lot with KOLs, of course, but from a business perspective, how do you give them the right content or the right lead-ins to talk about your project in the right way?
I think it's highly individual. So for example, like it makes sense what you say, Daria, that you keep them a lot of leeway and you just tell them, look, this is our project, those are our materials. Go and study it and give us your opinion publicly on it and be honest and authentic. If that resonates with your audience, great. But there's also KOLs that just have scarce amount of attention and scarce amount of time, and you're one project of many that they cover, especially the bigger ones, right? Yeah. So we try to make it as easy as possible for them to talk about our project. So it's very straightforward. It's a Telegram group where they're in, and then you keep them up to date there. You provide interesting content there for them, like when we post something on Twitter that we think is super important for our project, we send it in the Telegram group and we say, hey, please, leave a comment, repost this, give us your thoughts on it. And they react to that. And that takes them 2 minutes sometimes, right? But it adds value to us because like they basically open the door again to their audience talking about our project. There's others as well where you need to do it even more simpler, and we do our Notion pages and we really write down like sample texts, everything we would like them to talk about, and some of them they just take it as it is and they work with that. Others they tweak it a little bit, they put their opinion in, they make it more authentic. But I think it's very important that it's individualized to the style of the KOL, and that you put guardrails. You either tell them what to do, or probably most importantly what to not do. So what should you not talk about? Right. What should you not mention? Because obviously it's our reputation as a project.
Don't put those crappy memes up there.
Yeah.
We don't want those.
Like exactly. Like be a bit, have some style when you talk about Solana ID. So if you give them some guardrails, that's all they need. Yeah. If you want to put another level on top, you give them actual sample text and a lot of content material to talk about. So it's as easy as possible.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. I think the whole trend here, right, is that I think there's a lot of bias that has existed in the space for many years. I think a lot of people are starting to see where those biases are, and us at OnChain as well. We're trying to make our content as unbiased as possible, right? Yeah. Looking at the whole sense and saying, yeah, some of the crypto space, it's not so good. Some of these projects don't actually have real users, right? And I think people are starting to see that, organically doing organic things is really the bigger trend that should be followed, right? In this space.
For example, for our node sale, of course, we have different tiers, with different tiers, different allocations, and different prices. And we established, like, based on the performance, like 5 KOLs that's for us like very valuable, and like we really want to get their opinion because they are DGens, they understand the space. So it's like before publishing or making any type of internal decision on how we are going to launch our nodes, they were part of the decision-making process. You know, they were like, okay, please give us your advice. What do you think? Do you think the community is going to react well with this type of distribution of the nodes, or we are going to look like desperate in a scam? And they were like, okay, no, let's do this, da. So that's the right relationship that you really want to build with the KOLs, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just like chilling the project. Everyone can do that.
Makes a lot of sense. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. 30 minutes is a quick one for sure, but it's been a really great discussion so far. I'd like to leave the audience with a quick 30 seconds as to maybe some advice for them, but also what to look forward to in the coming months and years even.
Yeah, okay, so in terms
30
of
seconds.
Yeah, in terms of advice, very easy. Like it helps for you to understand how this KOL stuff works, because most of us, we sit in the retail chair and we try to listen to them, we try to take their opinions as valid, right? And understand the incentive structures at work. Some KOLs get paid in dollars to talk about stuff, right? Keep that in mind sometimes. Some get free token allocations to talk about stuff. So trust your gut a little bit, see who's authentic and who actually talks about their own opinion, and is a key opinion leader in their own opinion, and it's not just repeating the opinion of people that pay them.
Yeah.
So I think that would be my advice. And check out Solana ID on Twitter, because our content is very unique.
Nice. Love that.
Yeah. For me, I would like to shield RWA.io. That's a one-stop shop for all of the things tokenized. We will be working with a lot of KOLs, as we're working right now already. If you work with them, and I know you guys do, please check their history of what of the projects they worked before, what type of memes they've created, and also if your values align, because sometimes they don't, especially right now in such a harsh world with a lot of political issues. So be careful.
Yeah,
Nice.
okay, so I guess I'm going to follow the trend, and I'm going to say, please buy an ICN node. But no, actually, just buy the node if you actually believe in the project, because I think that's the biggest struggle in Web3, is like we try to sell absolutely everything, and we try everyone to be on board on everything, but it shouldn't, right? You need to do your own research, you need to make sure that you're involved in the right projects, the projects that you believe on, because this is investments overall.
Yeah.
So if you think there's a potential out there for you to run the node, to reward your tokens, and just build an open cloud, more than happy to have you in the community and part of the team. But if it's not for you, please invest in something else.
Love that.
Yeah, maybe as a closing statement, then I think that what we see here today is like different roles within how to set up a KOL management system, right? And I think it's really about teamwork. So it's about different roles within your own team, but also making sure that you're a team together with the KOLs that you're working with, engagement, making sure that they understand what you're trying to do, and making sure that we all work together to keep each other informed and up to date, and get the best out of it. Because in the end, if we do that, everybody wins. If we don't do that, probably everybody loses.
Yeah.
So
We don't want that.
yeah.
All right. Let's give it up to the panelists, everyone. Thank you so much. All right. That's our time. Stick around if you want to ask some questions. We'll be over here. Thank you so much.